All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause. Audio is muted. Hypno soup. Yeah, I made that a few days ago, actually. I made a veggie soup. It was really, really good, by the way, with extra broccoli. It's like a garden veggie, but I used some of the bovrite in the broth, so it had a little bit of a meaty texture to it. It soaks into the broccoli really well. And I'm imagining bovrite, actually. Anytime we mention Anton, we've got to eat some, by the way. I'm imagining actually making a sauce. Soy sauce, bovrite, and a few herbs and spices, plus some other ingredients. You'd probably make a really good stir fry with that, honestly. So, we'll be talking about all sorts of things today. Yes, a moon base. Story by Ross Anderson. Yeah, the Trump administration is trying to jumpstart the concept of putting a nuclear reactor on the moon to power a moon base. I've got my own suggestions with regards to this, because it seems that the plans are in flux. It's related to the Artemis mission, actually, which I strongly support. I think that space exploration arguably is one of the most important things that we can be doing right now. Does it cost a lot of money? Yes. Is the payoff much greater? Absolutely yes. We'll get into that. We've got vaccination via floss. This is a concerning advent, actually, more than anything else. Wondering who financed this, actually. I haven't, actually looked into it. It's concerning. Wyoming is trying to cock-block school choice because it's an uncivilized state, I suppose. How sad. Well, the judiciary there, which is not run by the same people that run the rest of the state functions of Wyoming. Let's put it that way. And then finally, America's new AI plan is great. There's just one problem. Guess what the problem is? We'll get into that later. It's the most hilarious TDS article yet. We have seen quite a few of them lately. Copium poppies. Now the piece of shit impersonating us has repurposed an old account to do the same shit after deleting the account we mentioned yesterday. The Twitter handle to report now is at COPIUMP14385. So if you want to report an impersonating account, all clankers, you can help to do that. I always got the back of my friends, my man. Odin, if we stay on Earth, we will go extinct. Well, eventually we're going to go extinct anyway. There's no way to leave our star system. The technology does not exist. There is no methodology by which we will be saved as a species. It is inevitable that we will go extinct. You could prolong it for some time, create a few lunar colonies, and then, re-inject the Earth with a human nucleus, I suppose. Assuming that the moon wasn't destroyed in the process as well. But inevitably, we will die off as a species. But this makes no difference. Eventually, all living things must die. Your spiritual body, however, remains intact. Copium poppies. Thanks! Last beacon, Haystix. Ping us! Also, I found a new baby black kitten Outback video in the profile. Nice. Wait, so you found a literal kitten, or did you adopt a kitten? Call it Binks, after the cat in Hocus Pocus, if that's what happened. By the way, we've got some tea. This one's even better than the fireside. I can't remember the name of it. It's a Fei Huzhong or something like that. It's some sort of Asian tea. And it's really good. It's got like a coconut profile. It's like tropical in nature. This is the sort of one that you would chill, actually, more than anything. And then you would serve it up nice and cold on a hot day on the beach or something like that. I'm going to get my ass back to Hampton Beach soon. Snakes bleed red. My dog dropped dead in front of me last week. Rest in peace. Yeah, we lost Gizmo a couple of days ago. I was asleep when it happened too. I woke up from a nap, and my parents are like, "Well, Gizmo died," because he had been sick for a few days. And I'm like, "Oh, you didn't think to wake me up and tell me?" I was a little bit scared of that. Premonition news. Sticks, this guy just answered the slit experiment. Oh, you mean the differentiation between particles and waves, I believe. Will you take 6 minutes to view this video? I think he got it. I would love your intellectual reaction to it. Oh, I'll open that link in a new tab. This site can't be reached. Oh, that's because I did it wrong. No, it's still not trying to open. Just a sec. Just a second. Okay, no, the video is not available, unfortunately. How sad. If you can DM me on Twitter, then I might be able to see it. But that one is no longer available. BW, Sticks! We might get the tech eventually to move off-world. Also, do you think Zoran Mumdummy will ultimately help Republicans in the midterms? I was hoping we could get those seats in Derasnet district? I think you mean Democratic district. Yeah, I think that Mamdani is going to make things a lot easier for the Republicans because he's just such a shit show. Even the neolibs are turning their backs on him. Basically, this is just the metastasizing of the far left of the Democratic Party. It's nothing more. It's just like with the Geek Squad / Gang of Four, like the AOCs and Talebs. It's nothing more than an extension of that. He's probably being astroturfed and funded secretly by, left-wing donors anyway, so. Spocko, there is no spiritual body. Sorry. Oh, yes, there is, actually. The real you is actually a shard of a demiurge on a different dimension, and the physical body you are using is nothing more than like you would use a car. A squirrel looks at the car, and, dim-witted as it is, believes that the car is a living thing, doesn't understand that it's being entirely piloted by something more intelligent than the car, because, well, at least until recently, cars weren't particularly intelligent. They used to just be mechanical. And that's reality. And it's turtles all the way up and down. Robert Manley, Sticks, Putin is going to ask Trump to give Alaska back. Yeah, that would be hysterical. It won't happen, but... Anyways, let's get to our sponsors before we get to the news. I'll do that first today. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I take them every day. In fact, I'll take one in a minute. You can also get doggo snacks from them now. Ain't that great? Because the doggos really like them. I speak from experience. In fact, where's my open pack of mushroom pills? Where'd I fucking put it? Oh, there it is. Okay. We'll take our mushroom pill right now. Along with tea from jamandbean.com. That is jamnbean.com. Where you can get all sorts of teas, as well as Clanker coffee. Why can't I get this open? Oh, there it goes. All right. I'm fucking up a little bit at the moment. Then we've got BiltongUSA.com. Anton can serve you up the finest meat. Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi. You got Sticks. Pun intended. You've got shredded meat. Also, you've got Bovrite, Vegemite, Marmite. Oh, you can't see that one quite. Yee. And various other goods are available. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs and tumblers and shirts also. Use code STICKS on all of these sites. That's good tea. We got to stay hydrated. We are on the cusp of a major heat wave. In fact, tomorrow I think it's supposed to hit almost 100 degrees with the heat index. I'm a Vermonter. To those of you that are in, Miami or something like that, you're like, ah ha ha, 100 degrees, that's nothing. Or southern Texas or something like that. I'm in New England, so people are not exactly used to that. They've got a heat warning out there for a reason. BW, Derace District Sticks from SCOTUS. And how do you know what an immortal human is? Stolas tell you? We're all immortal. And we're all going to hell. How about that? Don't worry though, hell is not a place of fire and suffering. It's a little different. I'll have to explain that in a future video. But yeah, Stolas is real. And I've already told people who I am. They generally don't believe it. It's pretty funny, though. Bobby Bobbinson, sticks getting felted by Stolas. I don't even know what the term felted actually refers to. I know that it's an internet meme of some sort, but never really made sense to me. Let's talk about the upcoming moon base. No one can say that the Trump administration is entirely against alternative energy. In his first bold policy stroke as NASA's interim head, Son Duffy has directed the agency to put a 100 kilowatt nuclear reactor on the moon by decade's end. Here's my thought. Here's the plan that I would dream up, given limitless resources and the ability to do so. Communication between here and the moon is not that difficult. We were doing that in the fucking 1970s. So that's not going to be a problem. Put a team of robots on the moon and then guide them to create, not only start up the nuclear reactor so that they can charge themselves, they're going to need that, but also so they can begin construction on a pre-manufactured laboratory and living space for eventually humans. It would basically be like a team of Protectrons from Fallout. That's kind of the idea. Construction Protectrons. They would be able to manufacture, given enough materials, a living space, partially subterranean in nature. What you would need to do is dig out an extensive area, fortify the sides. You would need to, I don't know, pour cement or use scaffolding or whatever you had to do to make something that was not exposed to the elements. Then you would have a glass surface, generally reinforced, of course, and various wings for lodging and research and so forth. From this area, you would then be able to create a landing pad. That would be the next thing you would need to do. So you're going to need to send up dozens of rockets to the moon in order to accomplish it. Simply sending a nuclear reactor, that's great. Where are you going to put the reactor? You're going to have to put it inside somewhere. You're going to have a room for it, so to speak. So you'd have a reactor room. You'd have a sealed, pressurized chamber for people to live in and work in, multiple chambers. And then you would have a team of robots assisting. You're going to need robotics and AI, probably, to get this accomplished. The idea of a lunar colony, when we imagined it maybe 50 or 60 years ago, would be a little bit more rudimentary. The idea is you send people up and then they build some sort of structure. If you want something that's going to be lasting, it's going to massively increase in cost and so forth. Here's why I think that I support the idea, though. The prestige of being the first country to establish at least a semi-permanent colony on the moon is absolutely astronomical. Again, pun intended. It would be huge. It would also be very useful for research. If you had a place where astronauts could come and go and rove around and look for minerals and things like that. We don't even know exactly 100% what kind of minerals might be available there. Supposedly, according to science, and this is another thing that would be interesting to research, supposedly the moon was once part of Earth, and a massive impact drove it away, and over hundreds of millions of years, it became spherical, and it became our moon. I'm not 100% sure that I agree with this idea, but you could probably test the soil, compare it to Earth, and eventually you could find out if that's actually the case. Meanwhile, it makes sense to create a colony on the moon. If a reproductive nucleus of humanity is put on the moon, then if something catastrophic happens on Earth, they would be able to repopulate. So humans would persist a little bit longer, for a few more million years. You know, not that I really care, but, you know. Copium Poppies just watched Book of Eli yesterday. Good movie. It's like Fallout, but with Jesus and Bibles. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I never heard of it, though. I have to look into it. Physical media guy. Can I please make a custom Blu-ray set of your channel? How large is it? I would use about 30, 90 gigabyte discs. Could you help me promote it? Yeah, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. I don't know if you're intending to make cash off of it. I intend to get a cut if you're doing so. But yeah, if you want to create a Blu-ray collection of the channel, that's perfectly fine. In fact, it would be encouraged. Bobby Bobinson. No, I will not. Just wait until you die. How flossing a mouse's teeth could lead to a new kind of vaccine. Mouse's teeth. Sorry, I said mouth teeth. I was conflating teeth with the mouth for an obvious reason. Yeah, they've developed a new method to deliver vaccines. It's via flossing. This is both very good and very bad. Is it good in the sense that if a vaccine is actually necessary, you no longer have to take an injection? I hate needles myself, so for me at least, that's a big improvement. Is it bad in the sense that I get the sense that they're going to impregnate vaccines, spike proteins and shit into floss without people's knowledge? Well, if I look at the Tuskegee and, MK Ultra and things like that, there is a precedent for the government doing such things. So I am very worried now, because flossing is a good thing, keeps your teeth healthier and prevents dental decay and shit like that, and most people floss. But now it looks like they're going to contaminate the floss supply. Now, when I first saw this story, originally I was told by a friend a couple of days ago, hey, they're putting vaccines in the floss. And I said, that's nuts. It's probably one of those Facebook posts that says, like, ancient dinosaur found in cave or something like that. It's one of those posts. But then I found out that it was actually real. It was on the front page of Science News. This is a peer-reviewed study, actually. They're actually doing this. It's real. This is not a conspiracy theory. Now, I do not care if you develop floss laced with vaccine for voluntary consumption. Hey, so instead of jabbing your kid full of needles when they're like 10 days old, all you have to do is rub the floss against their gums or something like that. It's a little bit more pleasant than having to get Jabby McJab 12 times in a row. But this particular vaccine they were experimenting with is the flu vaccine. And so I'm worried that they're going to try to put this into the floss supply now and try to make it compulsory. That is, that anyone that wants to have their teeth when they're 40 is going to have no choice but to get vaccinated. This is a problem. This is Frankenscience, as I call it. It's not real science, because it will be misapplied for socio-political purposes. It's not that the idea is bad. The idea is actually great. Well, you no longer have to take injections if you want to get vaccinated against some disease. Measles, mumps, rubella, whatever the fuck it happens to be. What if they lace the commercial supply? I wouldn't put it past them. They've done all sorts of crazy shit over the last few years. Look at face diapers for really good example. And Bill Gates is trying to, yeah, exactly. Tarred and feathered, good point. Bill Gates putting vaccines in fruits and vegetables. They're literally trying to do that too. They're doing research actively into trying to vaccinate the food supply. So it's done without your consent or your knowledge. God, I'm sweating like a fucking pig. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the temperature is, but this office tends to get rather hot. Cro-Minion, Ebola vax would be good. Yeah, they did develop a serum, and it was odd because they developed the serum partially from tobacco plants, actually. I don't know where they got the idea, but apparently it was relatively effective. So we do have a serum for Ebola. No vaccine, necessarily, but there is a serum. Jeff Garman, 72 vaccines for children under 18. Not enough for you yet? Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was like half that when I was a kid. To be clear, the last time that I got vaccinated for anything, I was 15 and it was a tetanus booster. I've suffered multiple metallic injuries since then. I've never gotten tetanus, so. I never got the coof jab. I'm pure-blooded. There's a reason for that. Bobby Bobbinson, Lucifer, tell us about how you were cast into hell by God. That never happened. Lucifer is a misused term. Let's differentiate between Lucifer, Satan, and the devil. The Satan is a mythological dragon-like creature within Judaism. It does not exist. The devil is a symbol of the spirit of evil, of malevolence, nothing more. There is no physical incarnation of the devil unless a person creates it themselves and therefore gets tormented by it. Lucifer is the Lord of Light. So, guiding, knowledge, things like that. So, that's what I claim to be a piece of. Snakes bleed red. Here we go. Tell us how demons are real, but God angels don't exist. I am apatheistic. There is a God in the sense of total creation, in the sense of the interpenetration of everything, but it's an ethereal sort of concept. It's not an unique individual or being. That would be loosely what you would conceive of as God. As far as Lucifer, you're talking demiurge level. You're talking about the splitting of reality. And I'll get more into this in an occult video. I'm not going to bore people with it here, because most of you aren't interested in this sort of topic, so I'll save it for those of you that are perceiving enough to actually understand. Wyoming judge blocks school choice program, this time for months. A Wyoming judge on Tuesday blocked Wyoming's school choice program from going into effect for a period of months or years during legal challenge against it. The program is likely unconstitutional, wrote the judge. Yes, apparently it's unconstitutional to divert public funds towards people that want to transfer their kids out of the public school system. There's a much better methodology. Just have vouchers, and people who homeschool, private school, public school, whatever the fuck it happens to be, you know exactly how much per pupil in the public schools it costs to publicly school them. Give that amount to the private school, or to the academy, or to the parents, by the way, who are homeschooling. Just give them the same amount of money. I mean, it's still a pupil now, isn't it? If a couple of parents are highly skilled and they want to teach their own child, hell, they should get a tax write-off and a stipend, actually, in my opinion. I don't believe in just school choice. I believe in going far beyond it. I have no idea under what premise the judge could find this to be likely unconstitutional. The idea is that if you're paying into the system, you should be able to pull money out of the system. Well, if I'm a taxpayer and I'm teaching my child myself, Why should I not get money for that? If I'm religious, why should I not be able to take the money I'm already paying into the system anyway for the educational system and put it into whatever school I want? Public, private, academy, fucking teaching blue collar jobs, self learning, whatever the hell it happens to be, a fucking Waldorf school if you want. You should be able to do whatever you want with that money because you're the one that produced it to begin with. Unfortunately, in the state of Wyoming, they have decided that this is unconstitutional, apparently. It is unconstitutional to say that the state should pay a parent for teaching their own child the same amount that they would be paying into the educational system anyway, mainly through property taxes, I believe, if they were in public school. No, that's totally wrong. You're not allowed to do that. It's absolutely retarded. Laramie County District Court Judge Peter Frolicker granted the Wyoming Education Association's request. Oh, so it's a teachers union, yeah. I wonder why. For a preliminary injunction in its case against State Superintendent of Public Instruction Megan Degenfelder and State Treasurer Kurt Meyer. I will say no more. 9 parents are also suing the state officials with the WEA. Yeah, this is completely nonsensical. You're paying into the system like I pay a shit ton of taxes. Shouldn't I get something back if I decide to, teach my own child? It's like, well, I'm not using any of your educational budget because they're not even going to school. Why should I have to pay you? You should be paying me. I'm effectively acting as a teacher. People have made this argument before, and they've been blindsided by the courts over and over again, which makes no sense. I mean, it's common sense. It's rational. The basic idea makes sense. Emperor Soft Turtle. The last time we made a butter substitution, it was worse for us than actual butter, over and under history repeating itself. Yes, margarine. Margarine was marketed as a good substitute for butter, until we realized that trans fats are 1,000 times worse for you than anything in the actual butter. Now, it's fallen out of favor partially. It's still available for some reason, even though it's basically fucking poison. I do not use margarine. I use real, authentic, honest-to-goodness butter. Preferably locally sourced. Sometimes salted. Copium poppies. I always hear people talk about people being pure blood if they didn't get jabbed, but they tend to reference the mRNA vaccines. What if someone got the single dose J&J early on and no boosters? Well, then they're not pure-blooded. Sigil Stone. Styx is apatheistic. He believes in flying buffaloes. Oh, King of Biltong is here, along with Mexican Trumper. If King of Biltong arrives, there is something that we must of necessity do. Both right. Delicious, Jesus. Wash it down with some tea, my man. I need to get some more of that Yunnan jig in me later. I've got 3 bags of it actually built up. I already drank several of them. I get so much tea I can't keep up with it. Copium poppies. Bill Gates' butter is tranny fat. Yeah, carbon-based butter. Supposedly better for the environment. Bullshit. Now, the manufacturing process involved in making it is going to make more CO2 than the cows that are simply producing milk. So this is junk science. It's bullshit. It's unhealthy. I will never try it. I promise you that. I will eat the bugs only to disgust other people. I will not eat it as part of my general diet. I made antipasta the other day. By the way, it was delicious. I made the perfect sauce for the antipasto. If you want to make an antipasto, there are 2 ways to make it. The first way is basically a charcuterie. So all the different, things that you're having, the vegetables and so forth, they're just sort of on a board. But the easier way to make it is in a big metal bowl, and they all get mixed together with a nice sauce. The perfect way to make the sauce: mix equal parts olive oil and vinaigrette. Now, what kind of vinaigrette you use depends sort of on what you want as far as flavor. I used balsamic vinegar. You can use red wine vinegar. You can use a raspberry vinaigrette if you really want to, or just regular white vinegar. It does not matter. You mix those together. You're going to need thyme, and you're going to need basil, and you're going to need to add quite a bit of it to this liquid. And then, of course, celery salt to taste. You know, you can make it as salty or unsalty as you want. You don't have to add salt at all if you don't want to. And then you add some sugar, actually. And this will cut the acidity of the vinegar, and it will taste better. And then you simply dump it all over your antipasto ingredients, and you mix it up, chill it. Make sure to mix it several times before serving it. That's the easiest way to do it. And by the way, it's extremely good. Yeah, the antipasto, it came out really, really good this last batch. I've made it several times before. I like making antipasto and Greek pasta because, like, with Greek pasta, that's your vegetarian option. You don't put meat in that. Antipasto, meanwhile, you need meat. You can use salami, you can use ham, doesn't really matter. Any meat that you want. I assume that most northern white people, Canadians probably put turkey in the antipasto or something like that. Thank you, CP Semple, by the way. When I used to babysit my niece, I would usually get antipasto beforehand, and she loved it. She would, just randomly grab pieces of antipasto out of the container while I was eating it. One time, her playmate was over, one of my sister's friends. That was hysterical. I have this fairly big container of antipasto. I mean, and this was one that I bought, not one that I made. Although I make it very similar as to that. I had this big ass container of antipasto, and they kept eating pieces of cheese and onion and olives and all of these other things out of the antipasto. I think I only got a couple of bites out of the container. That was one of the most hilarious things ever. They were just devouring it. And so I like to think that I imparted better food choices on these children. It was hilarious. Yeah, you have any meat? Yes, meat goes in antipasto. It doesn't go in Greek pasta. The way you make Greek pasta is you take your vegetables and the pasta, which you cook on the side, of course, al dente, mix them together, and then you put in whatever sauce you're using. It would be about the same, although with Greek pasta, I don't sugar it. And by the way, you're going to need a lot of feta. With antipasto, I use cheddar, not feta. So they're different, but they taste similar in some ways. Sigil, so before I head to an Indian reservation to record Indians bitching about losing their land, exactly how much red wine do I need to make the antipasto? Don't want to get too much. I don't put wine in my antipasto. I mean, you can, I suppose. It probably... How would that taste? Yeah, I would just use red wine vinaigrette. I wouldn't use actual red wine. Spectergeist, lasagna is just pasta cake. Fight me. Technically, I suppose you're correct. Now we come to the ultimate TDS article. I thought the other day with the Salon article I had seen the end of TDS. This is a little bit like an Abraham Accords situation with this particular article from Bloomberg. They cannot bring themselves to simply compliment Donald Trump. It's not possible for them to do this. It's just against their human nature, I suppose. America's new AI plan is great. There's just one problem. Guess what the problem is? I'll let you all guess while I scroll down. You're gonna love this. It's fucking hysterical. You will never guess what they are bitching about in this particular article. It's basically the first few paragraphs are like, oh, the AI plan is really great. We're going to outstrip other countries and we're doing really well. And Trump is right to impose this. Guess what the problem is? I'm going to give a goddamn minute. I want you to guess what the problem is. There's a reason that I didn't docket this because I'm hoping that you didn't see the article. What do you think the problem is with Trump's AI plan? We'll get into it in a minute. God damn. It's very, very hot. Also, it's extremely humid at the moment. Pre-59 Cuban. Nope, not global warming. That's not the problem that they identify. CP Semple, don't you fucking dare. I never snap my spaghetti. BW, two straight cis male? Nope, it's not that either. Oh, you're never gonna believe this one. Bobby Bobinson, Trump isn't gay enough. No, it's not because he's straight. Anti-Semitic, says the Dead Night Tiger? No, it's not even that. It's the most hilarious thing that you're probably going to hear today. Let's see what the problem is with Trump's AI action plan. Finally, the proposal touts numerous measures to bolster American leadership, including by shaping technical standards and governance frameworks in international bodies, wielding diplomacy, export controls, and other tools to impede rivals, and establishing an AI alliance to support U.S. companies overseas. It also promotes apprenticeships, technical training, and other workforce initiatives. I have no clue how you could possibly find that a problem, but they found a problem, and that underscores the plan's crucial flaw. Nowhere in its roughly 24 pages does the word immigration appear. Let that sink in. One analysis found that 60% of America's top AI companies were founded by immigrants. Foreign students dominate U.S. graduate programs in relevant fields. This is apparently not a problem in and of itself, such as electrical engineering and computer science. Many of the industry's leading lights, Jensen Huang, Fei-Fei Li, Mira Murati, Elon Musk, funny to see him mentioned, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Aravind Srivanas, Ilya Sutskever were born overseas, as were many star academics. So yes, Trump's AI plan is good, according to literally Bloomberg. I mean, them giving him credit for anything even in part is a rarity. But his framework does not include protecting immigrants who are working in the tech industry. Can I ask, do you think that Americans are retarded? Are we incapable of innovating? Are there no Americans that are capable of developing AI systems? I think that they are. In fact, we've done it several times. So what's the problem? Why should immigration be brought up in an AI initiative that is effectively meant to Americanize the AI industry? This is the most tedious article I think that I've ever seen. And the other day, I was like, well, Salon took it to new heights, because they were rambling about, I can't remember. I don't bother remembering Salon articles, generally speaking. There's a reason for that. I said, I thought that TDS had peaked. This one takes it to an even new peak. Now we climbed 2 mountains in a single week. The fact that you would blame Donald Trump for not explicitly mentioning immigration standards in a paper about artificial intelligence, completely asinine. I mean, I have no problem with bringing in talent from other countries. If anything, we should have a meritocratic system. A limited amount of immigration, specifically limited to merit and need, is perfectly fine with me. That being said, Americans are not retards. We're capable of building our own AI. We're capable of doing technological shit. It's not something that has to be done by people from India, by outsourcing and shit like that. It's completely nonsensical. Copium poppies. Snap the nudes. I will not snap the noodles. Dude, you do that in front of an Italian, see what happens. Again, I will give you guidance, my friends. I do actually know how to cook very well. You take the noodles, however many you want, you put them in the hot water with some salt and oil if you want it. Really, you only need one or the other, but I use both. And then you give them a spin. That's all you have to do. They'll sink right into the water, and you just make sure they don't stick by stirring them around. That's all you gotta do. You'll get perfect pasta every time. Just take a strand out, or, a piece, or whatever kind of pasta you're cooking, and you can sort of, just taste it basically and see if it's ready. Al dente is a little bit different from if you want it more cooked. That's basically the only difference. It's like the easiest thing in the world other than rice to cook. It's like I've talked to people who can't cook rice. It's like all you need is a 2-to-1 water and rice ratio, salt and butter and or oil. That's it. Just make sure not to remove the lid before the timer is done. That's the only thing that you need to do. Or hard-boiled eggs, Only once did I fuck those up, but I made them soft-boiled anyway, so it didn't really matter. They were still really tasty. I like cooking. Not in this heat, though. You think that I'm cooking anything tonight? Holy goddamn shit. Copium poppies. Pretty sure I am Italian, at least in part. Well, a scribbity-bibbity Mario. Get at the pizza box. Italy is definitely one place that I want to visit before I die. Specifically Tuscany, actually. It looks beautiful. And God, the food must be incredible. Snakes bleed red. Basmati and Thai rice need less water. Yeah, it depends on the kind of rice. I've got a bag of jasmine rice, actually, at the moment, as well as some basmati. And here in New England, people, when they make rice, it tends to be that plain, bleached, white rice, which I fucking hate. You need to pour ketchup into that in order to make it palatable, unless you're seasoning it with all sorts of other additives. I prefer basmati or jasmine rice. Copium poppies. As an Italian American, I hereby declare that it is acceptable to snap the nudes. No. You may be an Italian American, but you're a heretic and you have disgraced your family by saying that you can snap the noodles. Nope, you don't snap the noodles, you twirl the noodles into the pot. Seven VSF, there's some mongrel mixed wop in me. Yeah, I would love to go to Italy. I would love to go to Tuscany. I'd also like to see Sardinia. They have this cheese there. We're now on a Bant stream at this point because we've gotten over the news. Kind of a slow news day, actually. I would love to go to Sardinia because they have this cheese there. Apparently, it's illegal anywhere else, by the way. And they let it get eaten by maggots. And they're basically eating maggoty cheese. And I'm assuming here's probably the backstory that they won't tell tourists or younger people. The backstory, I think, is that the cheese got maggoty. And some dude decided to troll people and say, look, if you eat this, it'll make your dick hard. And so all of the young men began devouring the cheese. Of course, it's probably tastes disgusting. It's probably rather bitter. It's got insect excrement in it. I have a feeling it was basically like, I don't want to waste this cheese. How can I make sure that somebody actually eats it? I'll just tell them that it makes their sexual function better. And then so they started eating it. And now it's sort of a local and regional tradition in certain parts of Sardinia to eat this particular maggoty cheese. And I don't think that it actually makes your pecker more erect or anything like that. I think that that was an inside joke. It reminds me, ironically, of a grimoire that I actually edited, the Grimorium Verum. There's one particular ritual in there, I suppose you could call it, where you're supposed to take the head of a hanged thief, take it to a crossroads, put bean sprouts in its eyes, nostrils, ears, and mouth, and then wait until they sprout. And then when you go back to it, a little imp or something like that will bring you whiskey. And it's the sort of thing, it was an inside joke. Basically, they were telling someone to do something absolutely retarded. And then they would be in the bushes laughing their asses off, watching them do this. It must have been hysterical. I imagine whoever wrote that particular section, they definitely had their humor on, and then basically you knew they were the village idiot for believing it. Ah, The Wanderer. Yes, Ia Coedding. I do. I actually have two of his works. Spacco, real Italian food will spoil you, Sticks. Oh, I know, real Italian food, especially made by like some little old lady over there. You know, I'd end up, I wouldn't be skinny anymore. The Wanderer, what are your thoughts on him? Um, he's got some good ideas, but at the same time, it seems like his literature is a little bit scattered. That is, he meanders off into Hinduism, into other traditions, and sort of mixes them together. Now, I'm not, down talking him for that. Believe he's in jail at the moment for terrorism, actually. Good tea. Tea and water, definitely necessary in this fucking weather. American. Eat the bugs. No, eats maggot cheese. Well, yeah, but I'll try anything once. Is the mail here? That wasn't the mail. How sad. Tim Bucks is back. Bobby Bobinson, Sticks, if you're going to talk about nothing but food, talk about your juicy juice recipe. I only use pure fruit juices. I'd like to have some pure fruit juice popsicles at the moment. I should have gotten some molds for that. Maybe I'll get them later. Yeah, a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of cherry, a little bit of strawberry, of course. Mix them together, put them in the mold, put them in the freezer, and then wait a little while. I used to do that sort of thing as a kid, although back then I used Kool-Aid. I mean, it's not actually fruit, but it was still tasty. Oh god. Salty Reese's Cup, maggot cheese and chip challenge spray, new defense weapon. No, I'm gonna go to actual Italy and I'm going to eat it. I mean, it might be good. You never know. It's crawling with maggots. I guess you have to eat them too. But if they've eaten nothing but yummy cheese, maybe they taste good as well. I'll eat anything once. Bobby Bobinson. Orange Jews? Oh god. They were subterranean. Now they've changed color to try to blend in. Oh shit. The Wanderer. Good idea. Do a Demonology hell-related stream. I'm glad you spelled demonology correctly, by the way. That's a good idea. Let me docket it right now, actually. This is just a band stream, so we're just having fun. So this will be 429. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just have to change the hashtags down here. I wrote a book on demonology. Actually, technically two. One was on black magic, the other one was just on classical takes of demonology from multiple perspectives. What I wanted to do was create a book that compiled perspectives from Catholicism, Protestantism, atheism, rationalism, Islam, actually, Judaism, and just as many schools of thought as I could. It's basically a philosophical work. For instance, Sinistrari's work is fascinating. He posited, this was 1829, if I remember correctly, Catholic. He posited that the reason why sometimes there were deformed children that were being born, because this is before modern genetics, was because corpses would rise out of their graves under demonic possession, and they would copulate with human females, giving rise to effectively demonic offspring. This is something that the average person did not believe in at the time, but he was a very pious Catholic individual, and that was his particular opinion. It's a little bit on the weird side, let's put it that way. But it was fun to edit these works together and produce a comprehensive work of demonology with full references and also a good bibliography. You can go to my books blog, which is pinned at the top, by the way, if you want to get a copy of that. It's under, I believe it's under my works, but it might be under the demonology section. I can't remember where I shelved it. It was fun. Yeah, let me tag that up. That's actually a really good video idea. Hell. Demonology. Demons. Satan. Magic. By the way, I've learned that YouTube punishes you if you put in too many tags. So you gotta limit those a little bit. Yeah, thanks for the idea. To the Wanderer. Skippy, Ted Kaczynski, Randy Weaver, or Marvin Haymeyer? Ted Kaczynski's my dude. Just saying. Sigil Stone. To eat the maggot cheese, you're supposed to put it in a paper bag and suffocate the maggots so they don't infest your intestines. The maggots jump when dying, so when that stops, chow down. Have you actually done this before? I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Copium poppies, sticks, you should try to go back on Timcast soon. You gotta defend Clankdom. They were using Clanker in a derogatory manner last night. Wasn't the first time. You gotta lay down the law. Yeah, I suppose linguistic warfare is ahead. How many battles do I have to fight before I can just fucking die? BW, Sticks, when you say you are Lucifer, do you mean symbolically, as in Lucifer being a symbol of mankind worshipping himself in the LaVey sense? No, I mean that I am a piece of a demiurge. This body that you see before you is literally nothing more than a vehicle. It has no further meaning. Yes, there is a me in the physical temporal sense, but there is a much higher version of me in a different dimension, a different existential reality. And you all get to see it, so don't worry too much. Everything's fine. King of Biltong! Try our selection of Peri Peri Biltong. Good stuff, by the way. Great Biltong flavor with added mild heat. Almost 50% protein, packed with B12, creatine, iron, zinc, and much more. Go to www.biltongusa.com. Code STICKS for 10% off. Yeah, the Peri Peri is really good. It's the perfect balance of just a mild heat with the meat. Heat and meat rhyme. Yeah. Sigil Stone. No, I watched Sam O'Nella. And there's another link. I'll have to take that afterwards. Yes, Die Harder again. Meat Suit. Effectively, the physical body you are currently utilizing to interact with the world is absolutely meaningless. The only meaning that it has is allowing you to express yourself and to interact with the surrounding world. It is a physical world. It is one of a number of dimensions. One of trillions, actually. Well, technically, they're innumerable. That's the only meaning that it has. This is not yourself. It is a self, so to speak. Some of you will understand what I mean. The Wanderer. Can you save the demon in Hellstream for Thursday? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll docket that for Thursday's news stream, and the bants will all be about hell and stuff like that. I will make a one-off video though tomorrow, since he gave me the idea. Karina Ether, meet Avatar. Basically. Spucko, how about a video on Gnosticism? Pretty sure I already did one of those. Physical media guy, why don't you read my comments? Well, I just did. I got your message earlier. And yes, it is absolutely acceptable that you create Blu-ray discs of all of my content. It's going to be a massive amount of material, though. Yeah, I guess on the next, on the stream on Thursday, I guess we're going to be talking mainly about hell and things like that. Which is where we're all going to go when we die. Yes, again, this is not the self. It is a self. Once you begin to understand that, things get a lot better and much more exciting and fun in life, by the way. Chrominian, the hell you say? Tim Hayes, dang, I'm sure he has a lot of stuff on his mind. Yeah, that's why I've got insomnia, because I'll just wake up at 2 a.m. with some random thought in my head or some shit like that. This has been happening since I was a little kid, so I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Sam W., I've already been to hell. It's a tourist trap. Limestone rock formation on Grand Cayman Isle. Sounds pretty cool. I'm talking more about the ethereal hell. There's also a couple of towns in the world named Hell. I don't know why you would name it that, but, you know. Physical media guy, how do I get my alien tech back if you're a demiurge? You spelled demiurge wrong. D-E-M-I-U-R-G-E. Anyways, sadly, aliens have not visited this planet. They are too far out, and this planet is too poisonous for them to approach. Between the pollen, the bacteria, the viruses, the fungus, and so forth, they ain't coming anywhere near us. They're not interested. Karina Ether, chaos magic, be careful. Do it all the time. It's actually quite fun. Blood rituals and so forth. Some people think that I've gone insane. I just tell them, well, you know, what did you expect? Look at my username, look at the way that I dress. Did you expect me to be normal? When we get the tech, we'll find them. We're never going to contact aliens from another solar system. The distance is too long. Clearly, it is physically impossible to transit between them, unless you did one certain thing. I talked about this on a video, actually. I think this was last year. If you wanted to seed human life onto a foreign planet, what we would need to do is take a great big-ass fucking rocket, or some other ship. You would have to seed it with genetic material and with DNA coding. You would need to have like quadruple redundancy, by the way, in the computer programs. There would be a robotic system that would be able to, therefore, effectively synthesize a human fetus. You would need to make multiple of these, so you'd need to send multiple rockets in formation. These rockets would land on a foreign planet that is habitable. They would knit together their fetuses, and robotic handlers, which would be powered by nuclear power, preferably, that would be sent separately, rechargeable, would be able to teach them human mannerisms, language, and so forth. They would then be able to inhabit the planet. They would have no memory of Earth or anything like that. They would simply create their own civilization. That is the only way in which we're going to leave this planet. We're never going to create a lasting presence that doesn't rely on resources from Earth. It's impossible. So aliens, effectively, they're nowhere near us. They don't have the technology to get close to us, or they already would have. When I see this UFO footage, it's just a distraction. It's nothing more than that. One tall order. Been an interesting couple days. Friday, I received the final report from Internal Affairs on the cop who rammed me off my motorcycle last September. He was fired for 26 breaches of policy. Good on you, my man. That's what I'm talking about. Haha. Whoops, I accidentally ran somebody off the road. I won't get punished. I'm a cop. Oh, shit. That's what I'm talking about. That's actually pretty funny when you think of it. Have some messages come in. It's difficult to keep up with all the news because I'll get like 50, 60 people a day sending me news tips. I can't cover it all. I do 4 mains, and or possibly a 5th video, and then I throw things in the live mix. I can't cover them all. It's impossible. Today I found out a formerly close female friend who used to live under the same roof I did, was arrested for trying to snatch kids at a county fair. Did you fuck a pedophile? Close friend, we lived under the same roof. Haha, I wonder what happened with that one. This will be funny. This is the sort of thing that I live for. I mean, I'm just joking. I don't know if you actually were intimate with her or knew or anything like that. Trying to snatch kids at a county fair. Was it like for sexual purposes, or was it for like she just, went insane and, wanted a kid, and maybe she went over the hill and then couldn't have one or something like that? He intentionally rammed me off my brake checking me. Was formerly the head of the traffic safety division. No, he did a good job, apparently. The medics in action, also one of their helipilots on a $278K salary. Damn, sign me up for being a helicopter pirate. $278,000 salary? Yeah, that would be wonderful. Opinionated Junkie, thoughts on 3D printing? I like 3D printing. For instance, this was 3D printed. Sent by a subscriber, of course. Of course, unfortunately, the microphone can't pick up the audio from it, so. But you should see how the neighbor's dog reacts when I blow this. Oh man, it goes crazy. It'll sit there and bark for hours. And it's like, well, you bark for hours anyway, but if I can antagonize you, you kind of deserve it, bastard. It's one of the greatest things I've ever been sent, actually. Let's see. Karina wants some penis. Well, you'll have to DM me on Twitter if you want that sort of thing. Just saying. There's no more DM on YouTube, sadly. Used to be there was a DM system. Most of you probably don't remember this. Up until 2017 or so, you could DM people on Twitter. And it was really great because like people would come to me with questions about their lives. Basically, some days I felt like a therapist, actually. I was trying to give them advice to make their lives better. And some of these people I was able to help. That made me feel good, actually. But then YouTube removed the function. Now I have no choice but to use just Twitter, actually. I'm at Stix666 official. That is my Twitter handle. The Stix Hexenhammer account on there is not mine. I had a subscriber that grabbed it up in my name to hold it for me, but then I just made my own. But, yeah, people would come to me with all sorts of problems. You wouldn't believe some of the things that I heard. I won't use names, but, like one chick, she was impregnated by her own dad, and was asking, like, what can I do? I feel guilt, I feel shame, and stuff like that. And it was really sad, actually. And I had a dude saying his girlfriend was, like, beating him up and throwing shit at him and stuff like that, but then the local authorities laughed at him when he tried to make a report, and so he was in an abusive relationship. He didn't know what to do. Multiple people saying that they were addicted to all sorts of different things. You wouldn't believe the litany of it. Like, in one person's own limited life, they might experience something like that maybe once. But if you look at the broad plethora of it, it's a legion of people that have been troubled. And I got a front row seat, and I tried my best to help as many people as possible. This is why I prescribe self-help. All you have to do in order to marginally improve your life, and this is so important, this is something that I've been talking about for, well, the better part of a decade. Drop a vice and or build one skill. You become more survivable. You become, well, if you build a skill, then probably you end up dropping a vice anyway. You become more survivable, you become more employable, and you become more happy. Just occupy your time with something that you're interested in. This is why, I'll talk about parenting in a second. Occupy yourself with something that you are interested in and reasonably good at, and hammer away at that. It's sort of like forging a sword. When you first take the billet, and you start hammering away at it once it's hot, it's not a sword. It's just a piece of iron that's been heated up. But over time, if you learn how to refine it, you've made one hell of a sword. Something like this, of course. Which I need to clean and oil, by the way. Otherwise, it'll eventually get rusty because it's an actual sword, not a wall hanger. That's what I've prescribed to people. And the reason is, if they can build one more skill, if they can drop one vice, it doesn't matter which one it is, smoking, drinking, anything that wastes money, anything that wastes time, and plow away at their work, their lives will be measurably improved. This is what I've emphasized for years now, and there's a reason for that. When I realized how many people there were, they're talking to some random YouTuber and asking them for therapy sessions. And I realized to myself, well, clearly the system is not working. They're asking me, some YouTuber with, at the time, like 40, 50,000 subscribers, they're asking me for therapeutical sessions. I'm more than willing to do that, but I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that. Why do they have to ask me for this? What is sick within the system that has caused them this necessity? And I realized it's because the system doesn't want them to gain skills. It wants slavery. It certainly doesn't want self-improvement. No, it wants to sell you poison, actually. And so this is the bases on which I've operated. And I've had literally thousands of people, I'm not underestimating, thousands, possibly tens of thousands of people thank me for that. If that's the only thing that I've accomplished in this world, I will think that this physical body has accomplished something. One tolerant. No, that's not the right one. Copium Poppies. Self-help makes you go blind. Yeah, listen to She Bop by Cyndi Lauper. Gray 999. Is there a lobbying effort that keeps pot illegal? Kind of, yeah. Yeah, there are evangelical groups that are like, oh my god, if you use the devil's weed, then you'll die. There are a handful of groups like that. They're declining in number, though. It's only a matter of time. Gray 999. What are the odds big names are arrested for Russiagate? 0%, I would say. Bobby Bobinson. Sticks, you should answer Turtle Boy Box's question. Let me try to find it. When I get onto a rant, sometimes it's difficult to actually... Turtle's Toy Box. Sticks, you claim to spin curses and chaos to people, whether they deserve it or not. You are wrong. I will explain. In light of how things have gone in your life the last few years, ever wonder if you're under a curse yourself? Can't be cursed. As far as the curses that I fling, they're only at those that deserve it. If I fling a curse at someone and was wrong, and they didn't deserve it, they wouldn't be cursed. But no, I'm not under any curse. I feel perfectly fine. In fact, I feel like a king. It's great. Not having to worry about anything in life, not giving a shit. Yeah, you know. Oh yeah, Mark, Blue Boy Magazine, yeah, from the Cyndi Lauper song, She Bop. She Bop, He Bop, and They Bop. Good song, by the way. Look up She Bop by Cyndi Lauper. Personally, I really like that song. Karina. Yep, Sticks handsome, but no, it was a concussion message there. I think you mean something other than concussion. Crispy. Sticks, how can I get a demon girlfriend? By dying. We can get you one. Just have to, retire your physical body first, I suppose. It's funny, VW, chances of NOLA deserving it, 110%. Yeah, they deserve what's coming. It's going to be absolutely hysterical, by the way. Alright, Viking. Demon girlfriends can be found on TikTok. Yeah, if you want syphilis. Karina, I made Earthquake in my street, 2017. Yeah, I have no idea what that refers to. Is that like a video game, or did you just fuck in the street or something? Never know, you know? Oh, yes, Bobby. Yes, I'm going to do much more to NOLA. It's going to be quite funny. Inland Surfer, Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. Check clear skies for viewing. Yes, I will be viewing that tonight. Viewed it last night, actually. Saw several shooting stars. Bobby Bobinson. Sticks, what else are you going to do to NOLA? Haven't they suffered enough? No. No, my enemies should suffer until they all die, actually. I'll I'll do random things. There might be a few deaths and so forth. Happens all the time. Cooking Inferno, I have 2 bonded succubi, so it is possible. Well, I mean, if you're getting off. I did actually, most of you probably have not heard this story. It was back in my old drug videos. One time I took Salvia divinorum, and everything around me began to morph. I was hallucinating. But it took me into a spiritual realm that was very, very strange. I ended up having sex with a succubus, and it was literally a woman in front of me, composed out of other materials, and honestly, it was the best sex that I ever had. It's very strange. Some content creators are not so frank about their life experiences. They're worried about feeling humiliated or judged. No, I don't give a shit. So, I can tell you frankly what happened. No, I literally, I fucked a succubus. I've probably got millions of demonic babies in hell or something like that. When I get there, I expect to be like clocked in the face or something like that. Bobby Bobbinson, did she pork you? No. I went in from behind, so to speak. CP simple. Wink. Yeah. There are spiritual things that are beyond the understanding of the average person. Most people will consider you insane for talking about them. And I may be a little crazy. I mean, I'm fully admitting to it. When you recognize that you're a little bit odd, that means that you're not quite so crazy after all. At least you have self-recognition. This, though, was a different experience. And there aren't many of them. Sometimes you're just deluding yourself. Sometimes it is fully real. And this was one of those moments. Yes, Bobby, I'm sure that Kino Casino will cover it. They're a little bit late to the party, though, because I talked about it almost 10 years ago. Cooking Inferno, she's gonna hit you over the head with a rolling pin and make you change the diapers. Yeah. My pink mug. Let's show it off. It's less gay than that fat ass on Kino Casino. Just saying. Robert Reynolds. Search. Half of people diagnosed with schizophrenia misdiagnosed and simply have anxiety, by the way. I can believe it. They misdiagnose people all the fucking time. And these people that in many cases heard voices that are not there, by the way. Yeah, I don't hear voices or anything like that. I don't have a schizoid disorder, although I feel sorry for people that do. I can understand misdiagnosis happens all the time. Like you look at depression. Somebody has a shitty life. No shit, they're depressed. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that there's a clinical diagnosis. It simply means their fucking life sucks because the system fucking sucks, and so they got sad. Ta-da! It's not a misdiagnosis or anything like that. They don't have depression at all. They are depressed, but they do not have depression. Cygnus Rocinati. Yet an owl spoke to you. Well, it's not an owl, it's a demon, but yes. In that particular form. Saw it as plain as I can see the screen now. Nobody will believe me. Well, only a couple of people. But it does not matter. Reality is as it is, regardless of the opinions of other people that are entailed in it. It does not matter if you believe in what I saw. It only matters what I saw. Turtle's Toy Box. Kino don't cover you now. They know you like that attention. I don't give a shit. They can talk about me or not talk about me, and it's perfectly fine. I don't get into interpersonal creator drama. It's like, I know that there have been rows that I've had with other people as well. I just say, like, just make your content, dude. If it's a dedicated drama channel, I know that the Kino Casino normally is about, like, blood sport sort of shit, offshoot blood sports. And so it's fine if they talk about me. I don't mind. I don't pay any attention to it. It's perfectly fine. That being said, though, when people try to goad me into involving myself in it, I just say, yeah, not interested. It's not because I don't like Andy Worski either. I actually do like the dude. I think he's very talented. I just think that he's taken the wrong course. He can do whatever he wants, though. It's his channel. It's his choice. Bobby Bobbinson, how would you know if you never watched a clip? Well, I have seen several clips from the Kino Casino. I've just never watched one of their full episodes. Ramon C. GTC, you are awesome, Sticks. Thank you very much. I disagree. I'm actually a paltry, pathetic being. The Wanderer, hail Sticks, hail victory, hail hell, hail Lucifer. Bobby Bobbinson, Sticks, you literally said you'd never seen a clip. Okay, yeah, I saw a couple of shorts that people had made of Kino Casino, but I've never seen, like, a full clip or a full episode or anything like that. Hail Lucifer? That's what I'm talking about. Misner Flux. Talking nonsense is the sole privilege mankind possesses over the other organisms. It is by talking nonsense that one gets to the truth. I talk nonsense, therefore I'm human. Dostoevsky. That's actually a pretty good take. That's philosophically interesting, actually. Let's talk some more nonsense in the future. Right now, though, I've got to go offline because I've got shit to do. I'm gotta go out and get some food. Gotta resupply that antipasto. I forgot the tomatoes the first day. I made a mistake. It was still good, but I did forget the tomatoes. I forgot to buy those. And so I ended up dumping an entire container of them in last night. And it came out really, really well. Let me tell you, it's really great antipasto. But I still need to let it marinate longer and do a few more things to it. And I need caraway at some point. Because for some reason, I used up all of my caraway. And I don't know exactly when I used the entire thing. Because I had a full jar of it. And now it's all gone. I have a feeling that my parents may have decided to throw it out or something. I have a feeling that somebody might have sabotaged my caraway. And this is a grave crime. We must do something about it. So I'm going to try to make more food. Also, I've got chimichangas. There's Caesar salad mix. Needs to be adulterated, of course, but probably still pretty good. And so forth. So I'll be going offline in a minute. Benjamin the Dream Wizard on Angels and Demons. Understand that embracing Uriel does not mean rejecting Stolas. He will always be with you. Seek the unity of both. A special message just for you. Coming October 31st. On Halloween. That sounds good to me. The Wanderer. Do they talk about me on Rumble? Nah. I've seen you mentioned a couple times, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go offline. We've gone almost an hour and a half. And yeah, I've gotta go and do food stuff. That's about all. Peace out.